Apparently, Japan isn't happy with the Withering Waves story. I wonder why. I wonder why. I'm always super critical about the story for Withering Waves, so I'm super curious what does JP think about it, actually. It probably has to do with Chisa 100%.
The Japanese are a culturally mysterious and indirect people, and the Japanese language and how it's spoken reflects that. There's a thing in Japanese called imawashi, which literally means to speak around something instead of talking about it directly. For example, instead of saying he messed up, they'd say something like he needs to put in a little bit more effort. If someone proposes something like, hey, how about you do this? Instead of saying, no, I won't do that, iie, sore wa shimasen, they'll say, kento shimasu, which means I'll consider it, even if they have zero inclination to actually consider it. Even positive things like saying I love you could be hidden by an indirect line like saying the moon is beautiful, isn't it? My point is that unless you're familiar with this way of speaking Japanese, and if you don't understand the language on a deep cultural level, you could very well miss the actual meanings, thoughts, and opinions hidden under the surface. The entire point of my channel was to peel back some of those layers to show the rest of you what the Japanese people actually think and feel about certain things. I looked through thousands of comments and opinions and noticed these imawashi and put all of that into my What Does Japan Think About videos. What inevitably ends up happening though is that people who don't understand Japanese and don't understand these complexities look at that and think I'm grasping at straws or cherry picking certain comments that fit my own personal opinion. Very rarely does it get to a point where dissatisfaction in Japan becomes so great that not even this culturally Japanese obfuscation can hide it. Well, it happened again in Wuthering Waves. The recent trend of storytelling in Wuthering Waves has a lot of Japanese player base just getting completely fed up. Not to say that they dislike the action, the dialogue, or the cinematic nature of anything. No, they love all of that, but rather the overarching narrative and how formulaic each act has been getting since this.
Damn, that's crazy, isn't it? Damn, that's fucking. I've been saying the same shit. I've been saying the same shit for quite a while, but I'm super direct when I say my shit, though. That's why I'm not Japanese. I say my shit directly. Why?
Far back as 1.4. In a nutshell, the Japanese players are fed up with the episodic nature of each quest and how they seem to be hitting the same story beats each time. The previous banner character shows up for 5 minutes at the beginning but conveniently has to go away for no reason and never shows up again. Meeting with the current banner character to go on a journey with them and only them. Exploring that character's past and trauma. Rover just happens to say something that makes the character blush and look up to them.
Damn, man, it feels like I've been spewing the same shit over and over again, man. It's crazy how I literally spew the same shit, you know? Oh my goodness gracious me, man.
Possibly romantically, big emotional boss fight with a pop song in the background. Then the character doesn't appear in the story until the climax of the entire region. Then rinse and repeat. Now you might want to disagree with how I just described that, and you might even defend that type of story. That's fine, and I'm not gonna argue against that.
If you like fucking lukewarm ass story, yeah, you can fucking like that, alright? Fucking take that deep ass in, but I'm gonna say it straight up, that shit is dog shit.
All I'm saying is that this is how many in the Japanese player base see the current formula for the Wuthering Waves story, and they are getting—
It's crazy. It is crazy how me and the Japanese players think alike, to be honest. But everyone else, no, Nyaru, you're seeing it incorrectly, Nyaru, you're bullshitting, Nyaru this, Nyaru that, you're such a bullshitter. Stop fucking being so critical, la 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 la. Shut the fuck up, bitches, because even the Japanese side agrees with me.
Tired of it. They're tired of this episodic nature of storytelling. They're tired of not seeing past characters show up in future stories. They're tired of not seeing other characters interact with each other other than Rover. And they're tired of plot points not being seen to their conclusion. For example, I've seen people ask why Lupo—
Damn, first Monster Hunter Wilds, now Woowa. I've been so right for such a long time. It's so good to be correct. I swear to God, dude. Defend that story. That person consumes all the isekai manga and loves them. Go, what does it feel like to win this much? Man, it feels fucking great. I'm not gonna lie. You know, as a humble streamer, you know, there's a reason why I don't have rose-tinted glasses, you know? I see everything. I always take off those rose-tinted glasses, you know? They don't last very long, just letting you know. Because Call of Duty has shaped me to become the person I am today. That's why.
Wasn't part of the Great Hunt? Why didn't Augusta come with Rover to save Yuno? And most recently, and the reason why it started boiling over, why didn't Chisa show up in the 3.0 story? Why didn't we see her emotional reunion with her family? You know, the big thing that was the reason that we stayed with her throughout all of 2.8. These kinds of story plot points not getting a satisfactory payoff is leaving
I didn't play Chisa's story because I knew for a fact that shit was not gonna last very long.
many players blue-balled, for lack of a better term. Now again, to make it explicitly clear, they do like Wuthering Waves, they do like the characters, they do like Rinasita, Honami, and Lahairoi, but what they don't like is how disjointed and isolated each arc feels because of the lack of that interconnectivity between characters.
I fucking said this. I literally fucking said this shit, dude. I've said this shit so many times. You guys have no idea how many times I fucking said this shit, dude. I fucking have said this many times when I've been playing Wuwa since like the very beginning.
Just because they like certain things about the story doesn't mean that they don't like other things.
Exactly.
To give an analogy, it's like going to a burger joint and ordering a burger. Yeah, they enjoy the burger. It might be the best one they've had in a long time, but they can't for the life of them understand why there isn't a drinks menu. Not the best analogy, but I think you get the point. You could
When I watched your video playing the 2.6 story and I heard about your opinion about Wuwa's story, that's where I start to love your content more. I just say the truth. That's all I say, man. I just say, like I said, there are some aspects of Withering. I love the set pieces of Withering Waves, but the story just falls flat every single time. It just does. It's the same shit. I'm tired of it. Why do you think I like Duet Night Abyss's story a lot more compared to Withering Waves' story, you know? I just like it more. It's just more intriguing. Not every character is sucking my dick every single damn update, you know?
satisfied with the story and still be unsatisfied about the lack of character interactions. These two things can be true at the same time. There's no false dichotomy here. With that being said, I want to go through and show you what the Japanese community is saying at the moment, but keep in mind that I have seen similar comments to these since around 2.4 and even as early as 1.5. Okay, so like I mentioned,
I've been saying this shit since the beginning of the goddamn game, to be honest.
This current round of dissatisfaction has gotten so big that it actually made its way to the Twitter trending topics page thing, or whatever it's called. This is what it says. I'll just do a translate to English here for you guys. The authentic translation here is a bit scuffed, but I actually just cleaned it up. So this is what it says. The Wuthering Waves Lahairoi arc. Chisa's parents are reunited only through optional conversation, which leads to a growing fan dissatisfaction. In the new Lahairoi arc of Wuthering Waves version 3.0, the story of Chisa's search for her parents that was brought up in version 2.8 is simply resolved as
3.0 story is fucking dog shit. I haven't played part 2. But I know it's going to be the same exact thing, the same fucking formula. I don't even have to even know the entire story to understand what it's going to be.
As we met in an optional conversation text at the beginning. From then on, Chisa has been stuck in emails and conversations and has little interaction with the protagonist. On X, players are asking, what do you mean you met? It's too airy, complained a crowd with over 2,600 likes on some post. It's actually currently sitting somewhere around 3.7 thousand, 4,000, somewhere around there. On the other hand, there are some that defend the story, saying it's still early days, so I'm sure she'll be active in the future. And
that's the same fucking excuse I hear every damn time. It's early. Give them some time. It's early. Let them cook. It's early. Nah, man. It's the same shit, but with different toppings. That's all it is to it at the end of the day. It's the same shit, okay?
School life is wonderful, highlighting the difference between those who prioritize story and those who support action. It'll be interesting to see whether the developer can meet fan expectations in future developments. And I will leave a direct link to this Twitter trending conversation thing in the description below, so you can go and look for yourself to see what everyone is saying. The translation function isn't perfect, I mean, clearly, but it should give you a general gist of what's being said. And just to prove that this was actually trending, it's not just something I managed to make up out of thin air, this is another kind of prominent player on the JP side of Wuthering Waves, and they're actually talking about how it popped up on theirs as well. This is what they said about the whole thing about it becoming a trending topic. I was thinking of progressing the story, as in the story was progressing well in Wuthering Waves, and then this happens. Setting aside whether it's good or bad, as a Chisa-chan stan, as in they really like Chisa, I did feel a bit lonely about it. I got to hear about Chisa's after report, but for those who didn't, they're probably like, well, what happened to Chisa? What they're saying here is that if you didn't take advantage of the optional quest when you kind of stumble across Chisa on the way...
Now, is that argument that it gets good at 100 hours? No, why can't it be good at 1 hour? Yeah, of course. Because like at the end of the day, right, this is always a thing when it comes to storytelling and story writing in general. If there is no hook for the reader, 9 times out of 10, the reader is going to stop reading the book. The rest of the book. They're not even gonna bother reading the rest of the book. If you don't capture them in the first couple of sentences or so about the story in general, why are they even gonna bother continuing doing the story? Like, why do they continue reading the rest? That's the thing itself, you know?
To do something else in the 3.0 first half of the story, then you would never see Chisa like at all. So if you missed that, you'd still be like wondering what the hell's happened. But this is the main comment that like kind of started the whole conversation in general. It's currently at 3.9 thousand likes, almost 4,499 bookmarks, etc, etc. 1.1 million views, so quite a few people have seen this.
Exactly.
And this is what that post said. My complaints about the current Lahai arc, but Chisa's story feels way too half-assed, doesn't it? It starts and right away then just explain, I got to meet my parents and then that's it, nothing more. She has this super important backstory of being at Star Torch Academy 20 years ago, but it doesn't tie into anything at all. Honestly, before it started, I thought Chisa would show up even in Lahai. I think a lot of people felt the same way too. And as you can see, there's 82 comments on this, and most of them, I've already like looked through, most of them are agreeing with this post. They're saying like, why wasn't she in the story like at all? I'll just show you some of the top rated, top liked comments, replies, shall I? This one here, this is the most liked reply with 309 likes, and this is what they said. The thing I'm most dissatisfied with about Wuthering Waves is how throwaway the characters feel, you know?
Oh man, dude, it feels maybe me and Japan are probably cut from the same cloth. To be honest, I swear I'm a little bit more direct compared to Japan, Japanese people in general, right? But I just feel like we're like cut from the same cloth. I'm not gonna lie, to be honest.
Oh, as in like they just bring a character in for one patch for their banner and then just never really bring them up again, and not until the very end. Even the characters from the current region were said to be eager to meet Chishia. That's a mistranslation. They're actually talking about Chisa from far. But not only do they not meet, they just up and go to Lahai without saying a word. I thought Chisa, again, this is mistranslation, so I thought Chisa would get more involved in the main story too. As for Chisa, it was completely in the flow of let's go together, let's go to Star Torch Academy together. I never imagined that from there I'd end up...
Yeah, at that point you shouldn't even bother releasing the character. I'm just saying.
Being left hanging like that.
I'd rather have a character that has a good story than a half-assed character story and then just a throwaway character at the end of the day. I bet you $10 we're not even gonna see Chisa get a rerun for quite a long time.
What 2.8 set up. It was said many times in 2.8 that Chisa would accompany us to and throughout Star Torch Academy. No? Next one here. Wuthering Waves has this vibe of just tossing aside any character that's not the main one right away.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. They don't feel very connected from one another.
Again, similar vibe. Next one here. Wuthering Waves seems to have a tendency to mistake its main story for a character drama, doesn't it? As in, like, they're treating the main story as the companion story.
Yes. They have this stupid thing where literally it feels like what Genshin Impact has as like a hero quest, right? Like a hero side quest or so. But it's separated from the main story though, so it's not really part of like the main story in general, right? That's what it feels like with Wuthering Waves. That's why they all feel different. Like all of the episodic episodes and updates, they don't feel interconnected. They feel separate from one another. Because it's just like, oh, episode 12, you know, of Wuthering Waves and Renacida, you know? And then after that, you know, you got episode 13, but it doesn't relate anything of what happened to the last episode. It's like an American cartoon where like there's literally like no story, and the episodes don't even connect from one another, you know? That's the thing itself. Like they don't really connect at all.
Initially, it felt like it was all about swooping in to save a heroine in a pinch, then switching heroines left and right, and in the end, everyone gathers for a final boss takedown. That kind of vibe. It's basically a gal game. This time too, Linnea barely shows up at all, talking about the second half of 3.0, and Chisa mightn't as well not appear at all. That's just too harsh. Mecha wakaru, like I get it, I agree, same thing, yeah, that's right, that's what I think. Same thing about, they're using this word all the time, tsukaiste. Tsukaiste means disposable, like a disposable hand wipe, disposable towel, disposable, just stuff like that. Just they're feeling that the characters are disposable, so if they feel disposable and...
Well, I should change how they release content updates. Should be far apart and release the story update as a whole, none of this update 1, update 2, or act 1, act 2. Writers, in my opinion, are not given enough time to cook. Yeah, they aren't really given enough time. That's why Duet Night Abyss would probably obliterate Withering Waves' story. Just because I enjoy the story a lot more in Duet Night Abyss than I do compared to Withering Waves. It felt so refreshing that like, I was like, wow, like all the characters are like interacting with one another at like fucking the second update of the game? ? I'm like, wow, that's fucking crazy to see that, in my personal opinion. Fucking people actually die? ? In the story? Like there's actually consequences? Like that's wild to see that, you know? Fucking the waifu and the husbando dies in the actual story. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy to see that, in my personal opinion, you know? Like even the protagonists who they friends with are actually evil? ? Oh wow, that's just fucking crazy. Wow, every single character is not glazing the main character? Damn, that's fucking wild to see that, you know? It's cool to see something that is not like this, you know? Like all the stories feel interconnected with one another. They feel like not every single character has to suck the main character's dick all the damn time. Not every girl is glazing over you all the damn time. It doesn't feel like I'm doing a hero quest every single damn time. It feels like I'm actually progressing a actual story in Duet Night Abyss compared to Withering Waves. That's why, like, yes, I will sit down and watch the cutscene, the story for Withering Waves, and I will give my opinion of what I think about it. And that's about it. It's the same thing with Duet Night Abyss. I will critique it. As much as like I enjoy certain things of Duet Night Abyss, there are still a lot of things that still needs to be fixed with Duet Night Abyss. Like straight up. Like I will not glaze over any game in general. I will be critical as much as I need to be, because there's no such thing as a perfect game at the end of the day. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion though.
They train the players to expect that the characters will be disposable, then they won't allow themselves to be connected with them in the first place. And if they don't feel a connection with them, they're less likely to pull on that banner.
Now, when I saw Psyche die or so, sorry, spoiler alert, sorry, should have said spoilers. But when Psyche died in the first chapter of the story, it made me feel really connected with the character and the connection and the bond that I built with that character. And I wanted to actually get the character because I just felt really sad. And I actually did get the character multiple times in the betas, of course, you know, when pulling on the banner, when they had like the gacha system, I pulled on the character banner because I actually liked the character, you know? I love the Duet Night Abyss story. I love Fantasio's one. But sometimes my game is kind of bugging. I hope they fix this.
There's something I think a lot of people really misunderstanding about gacha is that these gacha are dependent on the story. It's not just about designs and really beautiful graphics. When it comes to story, people like to feel a connection with them. And if they're just there for one arc, about 2.5, 3 hours or so, then there's no real point. That's how the Japanese players feel about gacha, specifically to do with these story story-driven gacha, at least. There were, of course, a lot of quote retweets on this as well. Some actually found this on the EN side. I'm just going to show you the one that got the most amount of engagement that I could see here. This is also another user that's on the JP side for Wuthering Waves. This is what they say. Wuthering Waves' story has been full of holes from the start. Phoebe, who went fishing and never came back. Lupa, the champion, who's not invited to a large-scale hunt. Chisa, who should be at an academy but never shows up. This is the new one. And I've seen other similar examples being brought up as well, like why didn't Augusta travel with Rover to save Yuno? Stuff like that. Let's do the same thing, get the top liked comments on here. Again, this is a bit of a mistranslation. It's not, by the way, it's like, in saying that, it honestly is such a mystery that Lupa hasn't been invited, isn't it? Wasn't involved in the hunt. And there's someone here from the EN side saying, actually, no, it was mentioned so many times, I don't know about that only nobles and hunters are invited, and being a champion of Aegon doesn't even give you excuse for that matter. I disagree with that. I think the part of the champion of Aegon was to find the best hunter to go.
That's why Rover was invited, because he won the champion of Aegon and fits the prophecy, just like Lupa. So, well, apparently there goes that argument falling down.
On the hunt. Also, Lupa has no ties with any noble families because she left family Silver, which are now exiled and still missing. I don't really think that has anything. I've also heard some really weird excuses saying, well, Lupa was all weakened from that thing before and with the Thenodians, so it doesn't make sense for her to go and fight with the Thenodian, and then at the very climax, she's involved in the fight against the Thenodian. But just saying that a lot of these excuses why Lupa wasn't involved in the story kind of fall flat if you ever really actually look at them. Again, that's me putting my personal bias on there, so take that for what it's worth. Which to many of you out there, it's worth absolutely.
That's the reason why they scrapped Crownless's aura, and I think Crownless would have been a bigger, like an actual like bigger plot into the story. But waifu got hurt. They had to get rid of him. They had to nerf his ass significantly.
Nothing, but that's fine. This is a second comment here. There's always this feeling that they're just forcibly mashing together the settings that they want to use, the movie scenes that they want to make, and the characters that they want to push. Like calling the Echo demon in for Galbrainer, which was just a Devil May Cry nod and then vanished after that. Again, referencing the episodic nature of the current Wuthering Waves format of each arc not really feeling interconnected. Again, you can disagree with that opinion, but that's just the current sentiment in the Japanese player base at the moment. And again, for like the third time now, you can like the current story but still be unsatisfied about the lack of certain things.
Yeah, but it's too consistently. It's every single update that they add the companion story in the actual main quest. It's because they don't actually have an actual main story, That's the reason why.
Like, just for example, this tweet here. I finally caught up to the latest Wuthering Waves story that I started.
Maybe one day when we have some downtime, hopefully in the summertime, like at the end of summer, we have some downtime. You know what I want to make or so? You know what I want to make specifically? This is what I want to make. Let me see. I want to draw this specifically. Like this in general, right? But with like the actual antagonist of the Wuthering Waves antagonist that should have been the antagonist for quite a while or so, make it like the round table or something like that, with all the actual people.
Started at the end of the year. I knew that when the version changes, past characters wouldn't appear anymore, but I was genuinely surprised by how they handled Chisa. Maybe there are various circumstances involved though, I don't know. But the subtle changes in facial expressions, the trembling of the pupils, the fine movements of the eyebrows, and even in simple conversation scenes, it's captivating and never gets boring.
Yeah, but the problem is it's like basically, here's a lukewarm piece of meat, right? There's a story right there, that warm piece of meat. It's a small piece of meat right there. But then it has shit on top of it, you just throw shit on it, which is basically the forgettable interactions and whatever other shit that they like to throw or so, right? There's not really much there to begin with, and everything else just falls apart, okay? Just because you have this small of a piece of a good story to actually tell or so, doesn't mean it's actually good. It falls apart by itself because the rest of the shit doesn't support it in general. It's just bad storytelling and bad story writing in just general.
The cutscene direction is truly amazing. So this is a comment here that is saying the same thing, that they enjoy the cinematic nature of the Wuthering Waves story and its cutscenes, but they are still shocked and disappointed about the lack of character interactions and how characters just seem to get completely forgotten once their banner is ended. Two things can be true at the same time. I could keep going and just go for post through post through post, from reply to quote retweet, and just like I said, this is just the current round of dissatisfaction that I've seen, but I've seen this type of conversation pop up time and again for a while now. There was actually another post around this time that got a lot of attention too. Basically, it was asking what the community didn't like about the Wuthering Waves story, about the game in general, or rather what they would like them to do better on in the future. Again, another example of that Japanese indirect way of saying things, but that got thousands of...
That's why I ignore these players that don't do campaign quests. If people don't do the campaign quest, it shows the content is bad. Mass Effect has the best companion and loyalty quests in the industry.
Likes and about 50 or so responses from different users in the JP Wuthering Waves community. They eventually deleted that thread, which is another thing that's common in Japan. They tend to state their opinion on something and then delete it if it could be seen as negative in any way. This is why there's that false impression that Japan loves everything and they never complain. They do.
No, they do. Even I know this. People who actually think that they actually don't complain is crazy people, to be honest.
But you just don't see it because it isn't there for long. But lucky for you, you have me, and I know the person who started that thread, and lucky for me, they screenshotted all of the replies before they deleted it. Unlucky for me, it's all in light mode and not dark mode, so it's kind of like tiring on the eyes. So I'm gonna go through all of that, and I will make another video sometime soon, so if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe. Again, I will leave a direct link to this whole Twitter conversation in the description below, so you can go there and check for yourself. I'll also leave a couple of search terms for you as well. Again, I'm so tired of people saying that I'm cherry picking just to push my own narrative or push my own agenda. Guys, I'm on a Kuro contract. Why would I... What? That doesn't make sense. I'm just giving you the honest and objective opinion about the sentiment in Japan. Whether you like that, don't like that, agree, disagree, whatever, that's completely up to you, but I'm just telling you what the facts of this...
Well, if they, like I said, if they just start listening to too much to CN players, they will lose the JP community. And you do not want to lose the JP community at the end of the day. That community will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then slowly that'll be the end of probably the JP side of Wuthering Waves. And that is a market you do not want to lose either. Money, homeboy, money, homeboy. You do not want to lose money no matter how significant it is, you know? Money is everything. Money does all the talking. The NA audiences is too stupid to leave? Yeah, that's why I don't consider the NA audiences at the end of the day, so. I'm just talking about like the JP side, brother, that guy spent so much money in Fate Grand Order. Mother of God, I saw that video specifically. They can drop loads of money. You do not want to lose that money. You definitely do not. Trust me on this. Money does all the talking at the end of the day. I heard that the Arknight's Enfield story is not that great. That's also what I've been hearing too. And you know for a fact, I'm going to be playing that shit too as well. That's all I gotta say. Like I said, these gacha games need to up their antes on their freaking story. Because if you want us to pull on the characters and feel connected to the characters, well, you better start cranking out those good stories. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. But hey, you know what? That's just like I said. I've been critiquing the story ever since the beginning of the game, ever since 1.0 story. But everyone be hating on my opinion. Everyone saying you crazy girl, you crazy. You're such a you're just there. You would why are you even listening to the story? Just skip the story. You know, if you don't like the story, blah blah blah, this and that, and then on and this. You know. I see those comment sections. You don't think I don't see those comment sections? I do see those comment sections. So I'm just saying. Like I said, I upload the full entire VOD of my playthrough of Wuthering Waves, of like the updates that I play with, right? I upload them specifically so you guys can take a look at them and you can see my live reaction to the actual story itself and what I think personally. But like I said, my opinion, CN players had to be shown something new. They could like it or hate it, because even now with CN stepping into the double to AAA market games, they are to some degree doing something new. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens at the end of the day. Like I said, I'll be playing the new update for the Wuthering Waves story part 2. Can't wait to tear that one a new asshole, to be honest, because I am the most critique person ever, because I enjoy writing stories. I have wrote over 20 to 25 stories in general, and I enjoy making stories and character building and all this other shit. But man, if I see some pretty shitty shit, well, I know for a fact I'm gonna rip it apart, because that's how critiques are. Critics always rip things apart. That's how they improve at the end of the day. And if you don't start critiquing things and making them improve and making them better, you're just a glazer at the end of the day. I already know the story. Yeah. I can't wait to play it. I'm super excited though. Hopefully we'll be able to play it maybe this week. Hopefully this week. Hopefully at least before. We might play it on Wednesday. We might play it on Wednesday specifically just to see at least before the Arknights Enfield game comes out, because I know Arknights is coming out on Thursday. So I'll be playing Arknights on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. What else is coming out? I know High Guard is coming out too. So we're gonna try to put a lot of timers though in Arknights Enfield. We'll try to see if we can finish Hightail at least this week? ? I don't know if we can or not. We'll see. And then that's and then High Guard for next week, and then we'll be playing Code Vein for the rest of the couple of weeks in general. So not only gacha game stories that I found good is only Nikkei and Duet Night Abyss. I heard that Nikkei story is actually really good too. That's what I've been hearing. PGR story is actually pretty good. There's some stuff that I criticize, but it's a good story nonetheless though. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And it feels good to be right all the time, huh? And as a humble streamer, I'm just saying. Sometimes it's just sometimes you're just too early to set a trend. That's all I gotta say. And peace.